In the second half of Barcelona versus PSG, things kinda got interesting as Luis Enrique tried to do everything to outmaneuver Xavi, and Xavi luckily has improved his game management. So welcome guys to the second half of PSG versus Barcelona, some interesting tactics. But let's see how Luis Enrique almost took the game away from Barcelona, but Xavi had an answer for everything. As always guys, please do subscribe to the channel, it's going to help us a lot to get the family to grow. But let's get right into the video. At the start of the second half, we saw that Barcola came on for Marcos Asensio, and Dembele came to the middle and Barcola went over to the right. This was a master stroke because this is where Kunde really became ineffective, because now when PSG were defending, Mbappe had the license to go up and he was joined by Barcola, right? But at the same time, you had Dembele going over wide to block the runs and the effectiveness and the influence that Kunde had on the game. But at the same time, all the passing lane, especially to Frenkie, was blocked because of the positioning of Barcola, and at the same time they could really go man to man within the midfield, and at the same time you got Kunde blocked as well as Ruiz got Cancelo, right? But when PSG would turn over the ball, Mbappe would go straight over to the sideline, and Dembele would work his way through the middle, and this is where the problems came for Barcelona really. In the second half, PSG started playing out from the back instead of kicking it long like they did in the first half, right? I actually suggested this, and I realized they actually did start playing out from the back, and they forced Barcelona into a press because they now started to play really well, because and you also how fluidly they moved the ball, right? So as they were coming through the build-up phase or through Barcelona's press, you saw also that they had a back three, and I think this is why Marquinhos was playing at a right back, to become like a third centre back. But here's the deal: you saw that Mbappe started pushing Koundé back a little bit more, and I feel like Enrique targeted Koundé because Mendes came out as well, and then Dembele became like the false nine. He became like a free eight in that half space, right? Because they had this kind of like box. Lee Kang actually went up high in order to create a 2-on-2 against Kubarsi, because Sergio Roberto had to stay tight, because of the movement. So this Kunde was targeted in this instance to make him a little bit less effective, because he was finding all of the space, right? So they were pushing him, trying to push him back and back and back, all because of the problems he caused because of Mbappe, right? So great tactics from Luis Enrique in this instance. Around the hour mark, Xavi made two very specific substitutions. He brought on Joao Felix for Lamin and also Pedri for Sergio Roberto. And you know, of course, what happened instantly. Pedri with the assist. And I think Pedri was there for his press resistance, but also for control in midfield. But I think Joao Felix was a more important substitution because of his foul drawing and his dribbling. And Pep uses Jack Grealish the same way, right? And this is how Xavi saw the perfect opportunity to get Barcelona up the pitch because of his dribbling, his ability to move in tight spaces, and this was just masterful from Xavi. These two substitutions didn't only make the world of difference in terms of possession, where Pedri was there for control and then Joao Felix was there to take us up the pitch, but the runs of Mendes was now tracked by Rafinha, and you even saw that at times Rafinha didn't have a problem of become like a fifth defender, right? But Barcelona was much more balanced, and Pedri also helped out a lot when Dembele was dropping. He could follow them everywhere, and every player that made a run in behind that could be covered by Frenkie de Jong. So this made a huge difference. But at the same time, Barcelona kind of had like a 4-2-4 situation or a 4-4-2 situation, depending on how you look at it. So great substitutions from Xavi. I mentioned a few previous videos ago, I mentioned that Xavi's in-game management has improved dramatically, and this is why I keep hammering on the fact that Xavi should definitely stay at Barcelona, and Laporta should do anything in his power to make this man stay at Barca. But when things started to balance again and Barcelona actually tipped the balance into their favor, they started encouraging Araujo to come forward and inward with the ball because Dembele was mainly marking Kunde right there. That's why Kunde was, for the most part, he was very silent. However, Luis Enrique started having Mbappe on Araujo because this was starting to become a problem because of those passes that he can now find straight to Lewandowski as well. He actually had Mbappe covering Araujo, and then he had Barcola coming on to Kubarsi trying to put pressure on them to stop the central progression. But now you saw that Joao Cancelo now had the same thing going for him like Kunde had in the first half, and Lee Kang tried to like push up and cut out the passing lane, but this triangle simply just was too much for them. That's why you saw that ball in behind from Joao Cancelo for Joao Felix, and then Mendes actually kicked the ball out, and that is when Christensen came on and he headed that ball home. So masterful tactics from Xavi. He totally outsmarted Luis Enrique in the second half. If he didn't make those substitutions, Barcelona could easily have lost that game 5-1 or 5-2. But in the end, Barcelona takes home a 1-goal lead. Half the job is already done. We know we can beat them. We know now that we can outscore them. We know now that we can keep Mbappe quiet. However, we shouldn't be getting any complacency into our heads because it's still Mbappe and PSG, and anything can happen. And we know the history of Barcelona. We should stay positive, however, and keep working hard. But as always, guys, please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get the family to grow even bigger. Thank you very much for watching this video. Until the next one, goodbye, coolers.